Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking on what is absolutely, without a doubt, the most heavily hyped and, frankly, widely misunderstood technology of our era. Yep, we're talking about artificial intelligence. Now, we've all heard the buzzwords flying around, right? And we've all messed around with those chatbots. But today, we're peeling back the layers to figure out what is actually going on behind your screens. Okay, let's dive into this because the stakes here are astronomically high. We really have to ask, is AI our greatest invention, or could it literally be our last? And that's not just some wild sci-fi speculation anymore. It's an incredibly serious debate happening right now among the absolute top computer scientists in the world. As we'll see, the very things that make this technology so incredibly powerful are exactly what make it profoundly unpredictable. So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. Demystifying artificial intelligence. 2. How machine learning works. 3. AI in the real world. 4. The big ethical minefield. And finally, 5. Superintelligence and our future. Section 1. Demystifying artificial intelligence. Cutting through the noise. Before we get into all the massive risks or the amazing rewards, let's just strip away all that Hollywood magic. So the crucial point is that artificial intelligence is not magic at all. It is simply the capability of computational systems to perform tasks typically associated with human intelligence, specifically to maximize their chances of achieving defined goals. It doesn't have a soul, it has a mathematical objective function. It's just a system trying to hit a very specific, mathematically defined target. And this isn't even a new concept. The foundational ideas actually go way back to 1950 with Alan Turing. The whole field was officially founded at a Dartmouth workshop in 1956, and people were filled with this wild, boundless optimism. But, well, researchers wildly underestimated how incredibly hard this was going to be. By 1974, we hit what's known as the first AI winter, just a deep, deep period of disappointment where all the funding totally dried up. It actually wasn't until 2012 that things really exploded again, and that was all thanks to incredibly powerful graphics processing units, GPUs, and just vast, vast amounts of internet data suddenly being available. Section 2. How machine learning works. Looking under the hood. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is seeing exactly how machines categorize information depending on how we, humans, guide them. They basically learn in two main ways. First up, we have supervised learning. This is where the training data is already fully labeled with the expected answers. It's like we're essentially handing the machine a massive answer key to study from. Then, second, there is unsupervised learning. Here, we just feed the model raw, completely unlabeled data, and it basically has to act like a detective to identify hidden patterns or structures all on its own. Now, the actual engine driving this giant recent explosion in AI capabilities is something called deep learning. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning, and it uses artificial neural networks with multiple layers. These artificial neurons loosely model the biological networks inside our own human brains to find complex patterns. The layers work progressively, so it's like a giant puzzle. The very first layer might just identify simple edges in a picture. The next layer combines those edges into curves, and then a higher layer eventually recognizes really complex features, like a human face. It is all about progressively extracting higher-level features from raw input. So how does a totally familiar tool like ChatGPT actually work? Well, it uses an architecture called a Generative Pre-trained Transformer, or GPT. Here's how it breaks down. First, you pre-train the model on just a massive corpus of text scraped from all over the internet. Second, the model accumulates knowledge by repeatedly predicting the next token or word in a sequence. It's literally just playing the ultimate, incredibly complex game of autocomplete to mimic human conversation, though hopefully with a few less embarrassing typos than you get on your phone. Finally, researchers refine its behavior with human feedback to make it much more truthful and helpful for us to use. Section 3. AI in the real world. Staggering applications. We've spent some time on the technical how, but let's shift gears to the practical so what. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer breadth of AI's current deployment. It is reshaping our most vital human sectors right now. In health, it's driving incredibly complex protein folding and discovering totally new antibiotics. Over in the military sector, it's deployed for target acquisition and autonomous vehicles. And in finance, it's executing lightning-fast algorithmic trading and highly automated planning. Our world is already running on this stuff. And the speed of this integration, it's completely unprecedented. When ChatGPT launched in late 2022, it acquired 100 million users in just 2 months. To put that into perspective, it became the fastest growing consumer software application in human history. That rapid wildfire adoption proves for sure that we are in the midst of a massive, civilization-level technological shift. And honestly, just look at the positive potential here. As this quote notes, AI-guided drug discovery helped find a class of antibiotics capable of killing 2 different types of drug-resistant bacteria. That is a miraculous, truly life-saving breakthrough. It perfectly shows the incredible, deeply positive potential AI holds for human health when we direct it at the right goals. Section 4, the big ethical minefield, costs and consequences. But we absolutely cannot ignore the other side of the coin here. We really have to juxtapose those miraculous benefits against the massive, sprawling ethical costs and unintended consequences of this AI boom. First up, consider the environmental strain. A single ChatGPT search consumes 10 times the electrical energy of a standard Google search. 10 times! Because of the massive data centers required to run these models, it's projected that by 2030, AI will consume 8% of all U.S. electrical power. That is placing a huge, severe strain on the very power grids that heat our homes. Then there is the whole issue of algorithmic bias. A really stark example of this is the Compass software. It was widely used by U.S. courts to predict recidivism, which is the likelihood of a defendant reoffending. While investigations revealed it falsely predicted future criminality in Black defendants at a higher rate than white defendants. Now, why does that happen? It's because algorithms train on historical data. If our past decisions as humans were biased, the machine simply learns those exact same biases. Algorithms are descriptive of our past. They are not prescriptive of a fair future. They just mathematically project our own history right back onto us. And unfortunately, the risks definitely don't stop there. When AI systems blindly maximize engagement goals, we start looking at severe societal risks. We've got misinformation filter bubbles, non-consensual deepfakes, and massive copyright infringement as these models train on licensed art without permission. And perhaps most personally terrifying for a lot of people, the very real threat of middle-class technological unemployment as AI learns to do our daily white-collar tasks. The ethical minefield here is just vast. Section 5, Superintelligence and Our Future, Our Ultimate Test. Now, we are stepping into existential philosophy and humanity's terrifying attempt to control something that might soon be much smarter than itself. Let's move to and see how this builds into an ultimate warning. In 2023, leading AI pioneers actually endorsed this joint statement. Mitigating the risk of extinction from AI should be a global priority alongside other societal-scale risks such as pandemics and nuclear war. That is not hyperbole, folks. That is a direct quote from the very people building these systems. They are telling us point blank that the existential risk is real. And there is a very stark divide among the experts on what happens next. On one side, you have Turing Award winner Yann LeCun, who believes intelligent machines will usher in a new renaissance and an era of human enlightenment. Pretty utopian, right? But on the flip side, philosopher Nick Bostrom warns that a powerful, misaligned AI could destroy humanity just to achieve a basic goal. It's like having an automated factory that destroys the entire world just to harvest iron to make paper clips, simply because nobody explicitly told it not to do that. It is the ultimate clash between a utopian vision and an extinction-level fear. Which leaves us with this final, lingering thought. Can we align superintelligence with human morals before it outpaces us? Can we actually safely tether the ultimate cognitive machine to human values? As AI continues to evolve at just breakneck speed, finding the answer to that question might just be the absolute most important test humanity will ever face. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I will see you next time.